Ambassador Zix Thara's crystalline fingers trembled as she delivered the ultimatum to the human delegation. The vast chamber of the Galactic Council echoed with the silence that followed her words. Across the polished obsidian table, the three human representatives sat motionless, their expressions unreadable behind their primitive biological features. "You have 72 standard hours to comply," Zix Thara repeated, her voice carrying the authority of 1,000 worlds. "Dismantle your military installations beyond the Sol system, or face the consequences." Admiral Sarah Chen, Earth's chief military representative, exchanged a glance with her companions. Dr. Marcus Webb, the xenobiologist, and Captain Rodriguez, the youngest member of their delegation, both looked to her for guidance. The weight of humanity's future rested on her shoulders. "Ambassador," Chen said slowly, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation, "you misunderstand our nature. We are not the same species you encountered 3 centuries ago." The Galactic Council had grown complacent. For millennia, they had ruled the outer spiral arms with unchallenged authority. When they first discovered Earth, humans were barely capable of primitive spaceflight. The Council had catalogued them as a developing species and largely ignored their expansion into neighboring systems. That had been their first mistake. Zix Thara's compound eyes flickered with annoyance. "Your recent territorial expansion threatens the established order. The vegan trade routes, the mining rights in the Centauri cluster, these belong to our member civilizations. You will withdraw, or we will make you withdraw." Dr. Webb leaned forward, his weathered face grave. "You speak of rights established before we even knew you existed. We've colonized uninhabited worlds, built from nothing. We've asked for nothing but to be left alone." The Nexari representative, a towering insectoid creature, clicked its mandibles in what passed for laughter among its species. "Left alone? Your species breeds like a plague virus. In 3 centuries, you've spread to 47 systems. At this rate, you'll consume half the galaxy within a millennium." Captain Rodriguez's youth betrayed him as anger flashed across his features. Admiral Chen placed a restraining hand on his arm. The young captain had been born on New Geneva, one of humanity's furthest colonies. To him, these aliens were discussing the destruction of his home. "We understand your concerns," Chen said diplomatically, "but we cannot simply abandon our colonies. Millions of people call these worlds home." "Then you choose war," Zix Thara declared, rising from her seat. Her crystalline form caught the chamber's artificial light, casting prismatic shadows across the walls. "The combined fleets of 43 species will ensure your compliance." The 3 humans stood as well. Chen's expression had changed, and something in her eyes made even the veteran members of the council pause. It was not fear or anger, but something far more dangerous: cold calculation. "Before you make this decision final," Chen said, her voice carrying a new edge, "I must inform you that you've made several critical errors in your assessment of humanity." The assembled aliens stirred uneasily. The hegemony of Keth, the Council's military arm, commanded fleets that had crushed a dozen rebellions across the centuries. What could these upstart humans possibly threaten them with? Chen reached into her diplomatic pouch and withdrew a small, innocuous-looking device. "This is a quantum communicator, linked directly to Earth Command. For 3 centuries, while you've ignored us, we've been preparing." Dr. Webb's voice took on a lecturing tone, as if addressing students rather than the galaxy's most powerful beings. "You see, when we first detected your civilizations, we faced a choice. We could announce ourselves and beg for a place in your established order, or we could prepare for the day when our expansion would inevitably bring us into conflict." The device in Chen's hand began to glow softly. "You catalogued us as a developing species based on our technological limitations. You failed to account for our most defining characteristic, our adaptability under pressure." Captain Rodriguez stepped forward, his youth forgotten in the gravity of the moment. Every human world you want us to abandon isn't just a colony. It's a fortress. Every trade ship you've seen isn't just carrying goods, it's a mobile weapons platform. Every mining station is a surveillance post, reporting back to Earth Command. The chamber erupted in agitated sounds from the various species. The Nexari representatives' wings buzzed in alarm, while the gaseous Etherian's forms swirled with visible distress. "Impossible," Zixthara hissed. "Our intelligence networks would have detected military buildups of that magnitude." Admiral Chen smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "Your intelligence networks rely on energy signatures and heat emissions consistent with your own technologies. We've been developing along entirely different technological paths." The device in her hand pulsed once, twice, then fell silent. The signal had been sent. Dr. Webb continued the explanation that would reshape galactic politics forever. Every human world operates on what we call the Imperial Protocol. In peacetime, we appear to be simple colonists and traders. But each colony is designed to transform into a military stronghold within hours of receiving the activation signal. "Which was just transmitted," Rodriguez added with grim satisfaction. The first reports began filtering into the council chamber within minutes. Emergency communications from across the spiral arm painted a picture that defied everything the council thought they knew about human capabilities. Mining platforms around Proxima Centauri had suddenly sprouted weapons arrays that outgunned most council destroyers. Trade stations throughout the sector were revealing themselves as heavily armed battle stations. Seemingly civilian cargo vessels were shedding their outer hulls to reveal sleek warships of unknown design. But the most shocking revelation came from the automated monitoring stations the Council had placed throughout human space. Every single one had gone dark simultaneously, and the last transmissions showed human vessels moving with coordinated precision that spoke of decades of careful planning. "You've militarized your entire expansion," Zixthara whispered, her crystalline form dimming with shock. "Not militarized," Chen corrected. "We've simply revealed what was always there. Every human who left Earth knew they might one day need to defend their new home. We built accordingly." The Nexari representatives' mandibles chattered in distress. "The resources required for such deception, the coordination, is well within our capabilities when our survival is at stake," Dr. Webb replied calmly. "You've spent centuries managing established empires. We've spent those same centuries building an empire designed from the ground up to defend itself against exactly this scenario." Captain Rodriguez accessed his personal communicator, displaying holographic readouts that made several council members recoil. 47 systems, as you noted. Each one now broadcasting active defense grids that our computers estimate could hold off your individual member fleets indefinitely. Moreover, Chen added, "Our strategic doctrine doesn't rely on holding territory. Every human world is capable of complete evacuation and scorched earth denial within 6 hours. You can't occupy what we choose not to leave behind." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The Galactic Council faced an enemy unlike any they had encountered, one that had spent centuries preparing for this exact confrontation, while appearing completely harmless. Zixthara slowly resumed her seat. Her earlier confidence evaporated. "What do you want?" Admiral Chen's smile softened slightly. "What we've always wanted. To be left alone, to build our lives on worlds that were empty when we found them. The only difference is that now you understand the cost of trying to force us to abandon them." The Imperial machine, as it would come to be known in galactic history, had awakened. And the Council learned too late that sometimes sleeping giants are best left undisturbed.